Hey, and welcome back to my channel. Welcome if you are new. My name is Autumn and I homeschool my two girls. My oldest is in second grade and my youngest is doing kindergarten work. And in this video, I am going to be talking about second grade writing curriculum. This is, I think, a newer program. I haven't seen too much about it. I learned about this curriculum from Homespun Childhood. I saw it on her Instagram. I purchased it almost immediately. Even though we follow Pinwheels and Pinwheels does have writing as part of the language arts, I really wanted to get more into the mechanics and just have a separate writing curriculum that was adding to what Alani is already doing within the Pinwheels curriculum. And Homespun Childhood does have a fantastic review of this curriculum, very in-depth, very detailed on her YouTube channel. So make sure to head over there. I'm gonna touch on just like my personal thoughts with using it with my second grader, but I believe she goes into even different grades possibly in hers. And so definitely check her video out if you want even more information. So a lot of this is online, not online as in they're typing, but online as in you are not getting books like physical books or anything like that. Anything that you are doing, you do need to print off. So first I'll show you on my computer what is actually within the curriculum, because there are a lot of extras. There are things that I use with my youngest, and there are things that I plan to use in the future with Alani that we haven't started yet with, but it gives you a lot of access to things for just all different levels of writers. And I really do appreciate that because again, I can use it with both of my daughters. The actual second grade curriculum, no, I'm not using that with my kindergartner, but there are other things that go with it that I will show you. And then after that, I will show you just some of the samples, like some of the things that we are using daily. I'll show you the papers, I'll show you her writing, that kind of stuff. So make sure to stay tuned till the end so you can see the actual like printed out stuff as well. This is what you see when you're on the homeschool page for Simplify Writing. They do have a specific homeschool one, so that's the one that you would want to look at. But when you scroll down, it has the information here. They talk about how they have these child-facing videos as an intro video, and also that this can be helpful for if you are working with multiple children. Now, I think that with Alani only being 7, it is really important that she is doing it with me still. I don't think that this is something that she could really do on her own too much, but I do have her working on this while I work with Emmy and I check in. I don't leave her to be completely independent for it, but these are some of the things you get: the organizers, the grammar lessons, and then they have all the way from kindergarten through level 6. Now, I want to say, and I could be wrong, but I want to say that they have all the way to 8 technically. So I think level 6, it says equivalent to middle school skills. I think that might be 6 through 8, but I could be wrong. This might not be K to 8, but that is what I originally thought it was. And then these are the bonus materials that they have: the handwriting, the spelling, and the grammar. And I will show you that when I log into my specific thing. But I want to go up here real quick and open up second grade. So these are the skills that you're gonna work on. And I think it's helpful to go to these view level 2 samples to get more information, because in each unit, there's going to be an outline, mentor text, which I will show you a little bit when I go over specifically what Alani was working on. There's a lesson guide and there's checklists as well as example writing pieces and the videos. And outside of the videos, I will show you all of these things when I go through what we did in the unit with Alani. But these are the prompts that they're gonna do within the unit. So Alani did the favorite memory, and then also within foundations, she did a favorite season. And that's the one I will show you in her writing. And then these are the other ones that they are gonna do. I'm not gonna go over this really thoroughly because you really can just go online and look at it. But these are just the different things that they are doing. And the lesson guides are really simple. So when you go to it, for this one, we did sentences brainstorming. This one page tells you everything that you need, but the video also gives you that. So at the different parts of the video in the beginning, they tell you all the things that you will need for that lesson. And if you love a script, there is this scripted information here. I kind of glance at it and then go with what I want to say. I don't really go off of the script for this. But again, this was the first one that she did. And Alani is still in that I'm just going to copy everything they kind of do phase. So when we got to this part here, she kind of just did, well, I like to read too. I have one sister. I also like to play tennis. And then she put my birthday is in June. So she did her all about me that way. So we are still working on, it's okay, it doesn't have to be exactly like theirs is. But again, this was the first unit. But this is what I mean with all of these outlines. They walk you through how to fill out all of these. And then there are samples and again, a walkthrough of each of these on the different day. Like on this day was I like to read and exploring that. I love that they didn't just do all of this in one day. This is what I really like about this. I do feel that it pushes Alani, but it's still gentle enough at the same time. And then they have fun things like this. This was a sentence sort. So she had all of these and then she had to put them into a complete sentence or incomplete sentence pile. So is my favorite, obviously not a complete sentence, but she has to be able to identify that and then put it into the right spot. This would be the answer key here. And then they had another thing like this where you're looking at the sentence and you have to identify what is actually wrong with this sentence. And there were a lot of different sentences with something wrong and then one sentence that was correct. So this was the first part of the first unit, and I think it was a great introduction and reintroduction to these different things. But yeah, definitely check this out if you want more information. I'm going to go into what I see when I am on Simplify Writing. So I have the spelling, handwriting, and then this is her actual curriculum here. So I'm going to start here at spelling resources. So these are all of the things that they have. And this is what I mean when I say that I can use some of these things with Emmy as well. Now, Emmy is not spelling yet, but when we get there, I have all of these. And if you're new to my channel, I used to belong to Measured Mom, which had a lot of these types of activities, and I absolutely loved them. But I did end up letting my membership lapse. And I just love that I still have these amazing resources now through this website. So these are just some of the things that I have access to. And then just to show you the things that are more at Alani's level, this one is prefixes. There are some example words there. There's this area here for spelling. And then this is another fun one because you have to figure out which word is not spelled correctly and then write the correct spelling. And then here's another one that she's used to with Pinwheel's word sums. So again, just lots of great resources. Now this is something that I don't use as much, but I do like that we have it. The handwriting is the one I've been using the most. And I've actually been using the videos that they have for her cursive. So if I go down here to letter formation, there is a slide and it shows her the actual formation of the letters for cursive. So I use that alongside of the cursive curriculum that we're using. And they also have these workbooks that I actually showed in my summer plans. I had Alani doing some of this practice over the summer, but these were those alphabet pages that I had shown where it has the sentence featuring the letters. They can trace it, they write it, and then they draw a picture. So they have these for a bunch of letters. And they do also have it for cursive, but Alani's just not ready for that quite yet. When she is, though, I'm excited for this because I think that this makes it a little bit more fun. The only thing I wish is that they also had a picture for this. I do think Alani would enjoy doing an illustration, and this does not have that. All right, so going into the curriculum, I want to go down to the bottom actually to daily grammar. This is something that we haven't started yet, but my plan is for us to do it when we get to wand. So this is the daily grammar. I don't know that we will do it daily once we start it. It does start out pretty gentle, but it ramps up pretty quickly. So you've got this half sheet and that's all you're doing. But as you go further on, like here's a full reading and the half sheet is about that reading. And I think that this is something that'll be good to add in, but doing it daily might be a little much with everything else that we're doing. But if you go all the way down, there are answer keys. So there are the answers for all of these. When I did stuff like this with my students, this was something that we went over together, and that is what I would plan to do with Alani. This would be something that we look over together. It's not just me handing her this and her making corrections on her own. But they suggest 5 to 10 minutes. And actually, I'm looking at this now. It says the 5th day of each week contains a full page. So that's the ones that have the passage and the questions. In each unit, you will see this skill focus. In the first unit we did, it was handwriting fundamentals. And so there were videos as well as downloadable resources that were all about how to properly sit, how to properly hold a pencil, all of those different things. And each unit has something like that. For example, in this unit 3, there's capitalization. And here in unit 6, it is expanding sentences. So you'll see a skill focus in each unit. And that's things you're wanting to focus on top of the actual topic for the unit. Now here in Educator Guide and Printable Materials, this is where you are going to download everything. So the student pages as well as the educator guide. I don't print out my educator guide. I just printed out the student pages for 1 and 2, so the first unit and the second unit, and that was a lot of paper. So I decided the educator guide stays on my computer. This will look familiar because these are the pages that you saw in the sample, but what you're not seeing in this one is the ones that are completed, because those are the ones that are in the educator one. So these are the student pages, and in the sample you got to see the student pages and the educator pages. So on top of having the actual lesson information, the educator pages have all of these types of pages where the information is already filled out and it has the student pages. So if you want to print out everything, the best way to do it is from the actual educator pages, because then you're getting the ones that are completed, the answer keys, and you're getting the student pages. I didn't do this. I printed just the student pages, and then the ones that I actually want to print, then I have those ones printed. For example, this one, I don't need to print this one. I don't find it necessary to have this printed on top of the student page. So that's why I find it easiest to just print this one out. And then for this, I'll print out the specific ones that I want to print. They show these pages on the videos as they're going through everything, but I can understand it being helpful for some of these pages to have the physical page. But I'm gonna go through this video and stop right here. This is what I'm talking about, where it really does walk you through everything that you'll need for the lesson, and the lessons are pretty short. This one is less than 5 minutes, and we'll just click on another random one. This one here is 4 minutes. This one's 5 minutes. This last one here is 4 minutes. So as you can see, these lessons are pretty quick. And this is what I'm talking about when I say that they show the pages. You can print this if you want, but they do show these pages in the video lessons. But I'm gonna go here to kind of see. I think it's kind of important to be able to see, after going through all of this, how much writing is expected. So here is a mentor text. This is an example of what the final published piece would look like after going over all of the different writing. So this is basically 3 paragraphs. And I know just from previous lessons that they do really space things out. I don't think that this would be a ridiculous expectation. I think that I could even space it out more if once we get to Unit 6, if this just is going too quickly. But I love that there are supposed to be illustrations that go with it. And again, I don't think this is too much. That is my personal belief. Obviously, there are some people who would say this is too much writing, but we will see when we get to Unit 6. So that's all the stuff that there is online. And again, it is a lot. I really do appreciate that there's so much. I like when a curriculum gives a lot and I can pick and choose what I use. I don't like when a curriculum is so bare bones that I do feel like I have to pull from other things. So I don't find it to be too overwhelming when there's a lot of things. I like to be able to pick and choose. Sometimes I'm using some things, sometimes I'm not. I really do appreciate that. So the reason I'm doing this video now is because we did finish the first full unit. So I feel that I've gotten a little bit of a better feel for how the curriculum works. I didn't really want to do a first impressions of like, this is what it looks like online, and then know nothing else to be able to give any information. I will definitely do a video once we've really used it fully and have like an updated video further into the school year. But I did want to give you guys the information off of the one unit that we have done. And that first unit was writing foundations. So writing with foundations started with the sentences, then moved into how to make a paragraph. And then eventually, after she had done like a narrative, she did an opinion writing. And that is what I have here. The last of the unit would be the opinion writing. And what I liked about this is the mechanics that I was talking about. It starts out with the parts of a paragraph. So she had learned sentences, as I said, and then we kind of got further in. So the parts of the paragraph where you're talking about the topic sentence, the details, and the conclusion sentence. So she learned about those different parts, but the videos really help like go over all of that. I would say, I've said it before, that at the second grade level, I don't think the videos alone are best. I think there should be a person there as well. This is not, I don't think it's meant to be a standalone thing. If it is meant to be standalone videos, then I think the videos do need to go more in depth. I know that they want to keep them short, but if I was expecting Alani to do this in second grade on her own, which I'm not, I would need the videos to be more in depth. So I love that they have these, and then they have examples as well. So Alani had to do an outline of her own like this, where she wrote a topic sentence, she wrote reasons, and then she also wrote a conclusion. And she had a lot of steps before she went into this. So they did this where they gave example paragraphs, and within these paragraphs, she had to highlight the topic sentence, the detail sentences, and the closing sentence. So she was able to see that example and find it herself, and we were able to go over that. And then from there, she brainstormed her own topic. This was an opinion sentence about your favorite season. So the example sentence, I think, was choosing fall over summer. I can't remember. But in this, Alani had summer and winter, and she had to choose which one she preferred out of the two of them. Now, you could easily cross this out and change the seasons, but we just went with this, and she was perfectly fine with that. She chose winter. She had to write her reasoning, and then she had to write what she preferred. So basically, it was kind of the pros of both, and then what she preferred out of the two. And there is an example as well. It was actually choosing fall over spring for the example sentence. But I like that there is an example for everything. She is able to see it. When I was teaching, we didn't just expect the students to write. We would have some sort of anchor chart or example writing. We were always doing it with them. It's that method of I do, we do, you do, of I'm going to show you something, then we're going to do it together, and then you're going to try it on your own. So I do appreciate that. I like that method. So I'm glad that she is able to do that. And then another thing that she was working on was transitions. Transitions were introduced before, transitions were introduced or reintroduced here. And I do see in future lessons, it's not expected that she all of a sudden just knows all of the transitions. They go over them repeatedly, and I really do like that. There's not like this, all right, now you're a master writer and you can just remember all these things. So I do like the repetitiveness of that. And we've also gone over transitions and pinwheels as well. So I do really like that. I think that's super helpful because that's generally not how she's going to think in her own writing when she's doing it on her own as a 7-year-old. She's not going to think of the temporal words that she might use. So I do like that they have these transitions. So another thing that Alani really enjoys is when she gets to edit the writing of another student. So they have an example work for them to edit so they can see this is what you should be aiming for in your own writing. Sometimes it's easier to see what someone else did wrong in their writing than it is when you're actually doing your own writing. So to see an example and be able to fix it ahead of doing her own is super helpful. And she really just loves to use the different colors as she's doing this. So she does enjoy that. But they provide this revising and editing checklist so that she can really go through and know what she should be looking for. And then the next step was for her to publish. And when she published, they want her to write a clean copy, add illustrations to support writing, do a final proofread, and publish for your audience. So she had a full checklist. And when she was done, one of the times that we visited my grandparents, I had her bring this with her so that she could read it to the family that was there, because it wasn't just my grandparents there were more people. And so she was able to read it to the family members who were there. And ahead of that, part of the video was talking about how you should be reading when you are reading your work. So I wasn't actually expecting that. I wasn't expecting there to be a speech aspect to the lesson, but that was really cool as well. Now, again, this was not the full unit. I was just showing you the end parts of the unit, her final writing for the unit. But we had a lot of fun with this unit. Alani is a hesitant writer. She does not enjoy writing. So these little just like short mini lessons of writing have been really helpful for her. They have helped her with her confidence in writing, but they've also been good for her stamina because she does not have a ton of stamina when it comes to writing. And I mean, that is something I know that is pushed a lot more in school. And I'm not necessarily pushing it too much for her, but I do want her to at least be building that stamina. And this first unit was very much a just basic introduction. She'll be doing a lot more with personal narrative, opinion, explanatory, informational, like all of those different things. She will be having a dedicated unit for. Now, I have only briefly looked at the future units, and the only thing that I saw that I might change is for the informational writing. It is about writing about a person, which is completely fine. If Alani ends up wanting to write about a person, then she can. I think that is important, but I might change that to an animal. So we'll see. I think that's the only thing that I saw, like just real quickly looking through, that I'm like, I don't know if she'll love that as much. We might change it. But so far, we are really enjoying this. Again, Alani's not the most enthusiastic about writing. I really do love that they still incorporate illustrating. I think that's so important still at this age to allow for illustrations. And so I think that this is age appropriate. I think that the amount of time that they spend on the different skills is very appropriate. I've really been enjoying this, and I look forward to continuing. If you have any questions about this curriculum, please make sure to leave them in the comments, and I will make sure to link Homespun Childhood because she has a lot of information too. But that is going to be it for this video. As always, thank you so much for your support on my channel, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.